to this episode of Giving Your Dog Its Best Life. I'm Jeannine Smith, canine educator. We all love our fur babies and want to make the most of our years together. Join me as we discuss all sorts of ways to give your dog its best life. We'll cover a bunch of topics: health, training, challenges at different developmental stages, from puppyhood to crossing the Rainbow Bridge, and maybe just a little bit of storytelling centered in how deeply we love these amazing canines. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe. I would love to hear from you in the comments or via email at Jeannine@edupups.com. I'd love to hear topics you feel are important to your life with your pup. Together, we can speak, live, and love dog as we give your dog its best life. Can you cure a dog who is dog-reactive to other dogs? Picture this. You're out walking your dog on leash, and a dog sees you from across or down the street. It starts to lunge and snarl and bark aggressively, doing its darndest to get over to intimidate or possibly to attack. The embarrassed owner tries to put space between you or possibly go the other way. That owner never looks at you, and you can tell many feel resigned and helpless. This dog is reacting with fear, which looks like aggression. Can this be cured? Well, cure means 100%. No more lunging, barking, or even stiff body language. But the dog now is open to meeting. You see a wagging tail, relaxed ears. Basically, cured is a dog you know is going to be appropriate socially. I call them bulletproof dogs, completely predictable. Cure is almost impossible, but progress, and even miraculous progress, is possible. As a dog trainer, one of my favorite things is to work with dog-reactive dogs. May not sound like a lot of fun when you've got this snarling, nasty little creature, but it is so rewarding when that dog changes and you can see how happy the owner is that this dog that they love is finally seen as lovable by others. But what makes me even happier is the dog is much more comfortable in his or her world. This dog finally realizes it doesn't have to attack to be safe. The dog begins to trust that there are nice dogs out there. Dogs are pack animals. They're hardwired to be social. They should at least be open to meeting other dogs, or at the very least be focused on their person and go about their business without showing aggression to other animals. I'm not sure if you've experienced a large dog like a pit bull or shepherd or mastiff, which is out of control. It should make you pause and consider your options. We hear stories of how things can go very wrong. In another podcast, we'll talk about what you should do if a dog attack is imminent. I see a few fear-aggressive dogs, but really I see more small dogs that go ballistic as I walk my Goldens. And my Goldens look at them like, "What's your problem?" and ignore them, and we keep on walking. When my dogs ignore the crazies, I compliment them and reward them. Never let good deeds go unacknowledged. Dogs are like kids. You want to focus on the behaviors you want, not so much trying to extinguish the negative. However, in the case of dealing with fear aggression, training does require both. You do need some correction with lots of positive praise and treats and timing. Training really is all about timing. You need to correct quickly and lavish praise and treats, all within a few seconds. It gets easier as you practice, and that's one reason why a trainer can help you with that. First by modeling, and then by helping you, watching you and encouraging you until you are comfortable doing that correction and praise yourself. I have a couple pet peeves. probably all people do, right? But one is a retractable leash. Please don't use retractable leashes. I have a podcast about that also. But they are especially dangerous with reactive dogs. Why people think these are a great idea eludes me. I guess it's because they think, oh, I'm walking my dog, but my dog can safely run on a leash. Yeah, you don't have the control. Most people do not have that fast a level of reaction time. And that dog is off and running before you can click and try to stop that. I have seen the leash wrapped around people's legs or trees when a reactive dog loses it. We'll talk more about basing training that all dogs should have in another podcast. Little dog syndrome, or the Napoleon complex, is allowed in many small breeds if not expected. It does not have to be that way. I have helped small dogs, many different kinds and breeds and mixes of small dogs. But the best way really is prevention. If you get that dog from the time it's a puppy, expose them to large dogs with chill energy. Obviously, it needs to be structured, and the owners of the little dogs need to be calm. Dogs pick up on our emotions and our energies. Little dogs also know that they're little, so they try to appear bigger by being loud and bossy. But this can be lessened greatly. This is a request, if not a plea. If your dog is even a little reactive, please keep that dog on leash, not running freely in a park. You're looking at someone being hurt and possibly a lawsuit. This is a larger request. If your dog actually is a dog that bites, not just shows bluffing that he's tough, I would walk him with a muzzle, or be 100% aware of anyone around you. Dogs that bite take reactivity to a whole new level. And yes, they can also be helped, but they have a much farther path along that continuum to get to where we need them to be. Another pet peeve. If you're walking your dog, enjoy this time. This is a great time to bond with your dog. It's probably your dog's favorite part of the day, between the exercise, being outside, the smells, and special time with their favorite human. Don't be on your phone. Be aware of your surroundings. Sometimes you can find yourself in the middle of a preventable situation, but you were focused on something else and you never saw it coming. When I walk my dogs, that's what I do. I am observing all the time, not just my dogs, but I am scanning constantly of what's around me, who's around me, because I don't want to be caught unaware. I was once, actually twice, and I don't think I could have prevented either of them because the dogs rushed out from a place I couldn't see them coming, and they were off leash. And yeah, it's definitely super frightening. 99% of all dogs who are dog reactive can improve. And like I said, some, it's almost miraculously how different they can be. So let me tell you about one of the times my dogs were attacked. It was Rosie and Kimmy. Rosie at the time was probably about a year old. Kimmy was probably about 3. We were walking in our very, very safe neighborhood. We've been on this street probably 100 times. And then all of a sudden, out of a garage come 2 Goldens, of all things. And they're big Goldens. And they are biking and snarling, and they do attack. Kimmy, they were okay, because again, I have some ideas of what to do to prevent a serious attack. And I was lucky. The woman who owned these dogs did come out probably within a minute or so. She heard me yelling and very loud, very strong voice. Because again, if I look big and strong and tough, that tends to make the dog slow down in some level, physically or possibly emotionally, look and see what they're running into. And she did get them back and apologized greatly. And she and I had some words, especially about the fact that they were Goldens and that Goldens should never behave that way, for goodness sake. Well, after the attack, Kimmy was fine. Kimmy is a super chill dog. She is a dog actually used with reactive dogs. She is really bulletproof. Rosie, however, and it might have been just where she was developmentally, it changed her forever. It was so sad. Rosie, before then, was the most sociable dog I've ever known. Loved everybody, everything, thought the entire world was her friend. And it just blew her mind. And so we had to start working with Rosie and doing some of my dog reactive training with her. She's come a long, long way. Is she cured? No. There are still a very few percentage of dogs, maybe 5%, that she reacts to. These are usually dogs with a very, very high energy, more even than reactive dogs. It's really more the dog's energy level, where they're coming at her fast, and she hates to be surprised from behind. I think that's how she was bitten. So she doesn't want a dog to run up behind her. That really, really scares her. And would she ever bite? No, I know she wouldn't bite. I guarantee she wouldn't bite, which is a lot to say, I know. But she will sound pretty scary, and she'll defend herself as far as barking and possibly even lunging. So we work with her, and we still tell her at times not to be huffy puffy. She has a little bit of, I would say, a little territorial traits as well, where if you walk out the door and if there's a dog right there, again, where she's surprised, like, whoa, why are you here? So we always kind of work with her on that. Rosie has inspired me to write many books. The book about this particular topic was called The Huffy Puffy Dog, about a dog who is so fearful of others, she huffs and she puffs, and she woofs a whippy whirlwind until she meets a dog who has the same reactive fear. Together they realize they can overcome their fears and find friends. Dogs are people's best friends, but dogs should be dogs' best friends too. Your dog does not want to be huffy puffy and to choose to be that way. You can help your dog. With positive rewards-based training, you and your sweet fur baby can enjoy a comfortable quality of life. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Giving Your Dog Its Best Life. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe down below. I welcome your comments here or at Jeannine@edupups.com. Together, we can speak, live, and love dog as we give your dog its best life.